Joe Nolfo here, Madman Joe. Lucky Leo sitting here, my trusty partner as always, the Drunken Cockatoo.
How are we feeling today?
The Drunken Cockatoo is back, baby.
Yes, sir.
We got some other film works that we had to take care of. We have responsibility. We couldn't seem to get it done because the Drunken Cockatoo and the Joe Nolfo show was in the way, so we had to stop, pause, and close the other ones out. Now we're back, baby, and we're staying. We're here, baby.
Yes,
we're
sir.
here. We're here.
Yeah,
we're cockatoos, and get used to it. Today's show is the wedding show. The theme is about weddings.
All right.
And so I'm gonna go ahead and turn to my trusty partner here, Lucky Leo, and let him tell the story about how he met his wife. And this is for all you people, you guys that are married and all you happy housewives and all that. He's gonna share your story, and then I'm gonna share a somewhat of a
I don't know how
similar.
happy it's gonna be,
Yeah.
I like the fact that you want to do a wedding show, huh? You
Okay, well, what we got here, I got a wedding suit being done, a classic
Okay.
Italian wedding suit. We're
All
gonna
right.
sample that shortly, and then here's the kicker. Are you ready?
Okay.
That's the Drunken Cockatoo.
Hey, what's going on, Jake?
Jake, take it easy. Your part's coming up. So anyway, we got a secret that we're going to reveal to our clients, not our clients, but
Okay.
our guests, not our guests, but our
Secrets,
fans.
huh?
Fans, I guess, yeah.
Yes. Secrets to the fans.
The secret is we're going to reveal the #1 drink that every groom should drink on his wedding night. The number one
man.
cocktail drink. You know what I mean?
Oh man, I probably should have had that.
I'll tell you right now, it ain't a zombie.
Oh.
It ain't a Harvey Wallbanger, and it ain't the typical champagne that you're probably
Like an
running
old
through your mind
fashioned
right
or something.
now. Let's just keep it. We're going to
Okay.
be doing it at the end.
All
as a
right.
secret
I'm
we're
excited.
going to reveal.
I'm excited.
So anyway, listen, everybody out there, Cockatoo fans, I'm going to get our boy Leo here. Lucky Leo is going to tell the story how he met his lovely, lovely wife. Leo, tell the people about how you met her and got married and all that.
I appreciate it, Joe. I don't know if you've heard this story before, but so the dating scene out there right now, Joe, is rough. I don't know if you've been out there lately.
It's always been rough for me, but yeah.
So this is a couple years ago, but so the way that I met my wife was a little bit untraditional, right? I met her on a dating website.
No.
Yeah, it's called Bumble. One of those dating apps, actually, not even a website.
Bumble.
So I was actually very reluctant to do this.
I would be too.
But my buddies two of my best friends were doing work on these apps. But what I mean by work is
behind the scenes.
Oh,
Working
they were having a good time, like great experiences.
Oh,
like
you mean dating?
Great nights,
dating.
Gotcha. Yeah, girls from the app, right?
Right,
So
right.
they're doing the app justice, let's say, all right? And they're telling me about their experiences and their nights. Oh my goodness, are they representing, right? So they are like, they should be salesmen for the app, right? So they're telling me, and they're like, and I'm single, and I'm, got out of a bad relationship. I usually don't meet girls artificially, if that makes sense, right? I want to be in person. I want to meet them face to face.
I, on the other hand, is almost all artificial. The women I was dating a girl by the name of Jill, anyway, go ahead.
I should have realized I was setting you up right there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that wasn't my natural way to meet girls, but, my buddies are like, oh, you got to do it. You got to try it.
The same buddies that are knocking it dead. They're knocking it dead on
they are.
Okay.
Yeah, they're hitting strikes.
Right,
all right?
right.
So I go ahead and I'm like, hey man, I don't have a social media page. I don't have like all these Instagrams and all these Facebooks. So I'm like, man, I don't have all these pictures that people put on there. Can you guys help me set it up? So they're kind enough, and they're like, yeah, we'll help you set it up. They pick the pictures. They're like even helping me message some of these girls that are messaging. So now on this app, the girl has to make the first step. She has to introduce.
She has to open up the
She has to open, correct.
Yeah, right.
So a couple girls open up.
Makes sense.
Right? Couple girls opened up, and I had a couple bad experiences off the rip, right? So like the first one, it's what we call nowadays like a catfish. You know about this?
Oh, sure, catfishing. That's big nowadays on the internet, especially, yeah.
So I'm not going to get into too many details, but the said female that I was supposed to meet and that I was chatting with on the app, when I arrived at the bar, or at the restaurant to meet her up.
Of course, not the bar, the restaurant. Yeah.
The restaurant to meet her up.
Yeah.
It was not what I was thinking was going to arrive. Does that make sense? Like it didn't match the picture and the profile that I was looking at on the app.
Yeah, because a lot of people, they use like other people's
Right.
photos or a photo of themselves
I don't
like
know
15
what they did.
years
Yeah.
before. So
Could have been the case. It was a
it
completely
was probably
different
the only
situation.
woman, probably the only woman in
Yeah.
the United States that lied with her picture on the one.
I'm sure that's not the case, but
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
it happened to me, so it felt real, right?
Right,
So
right.
I'm in there and I meet her. I'm kind enough. I'm like, oh goodness gracious, that can't be you, but I guess it is you. And cordially kind of said goodnight and kind of left.
Yeah, you try to slide it under the rug, get it
Right,
out of the way.
right.
Right.
Don't want to be rude. Don't want to,
Gentleman as you are.
Yeah, make
Gentleman.
anybody feel
Yeah.
bad, but walked out pretty quickly. Then the second time I get, you'll love this one. This is funny. So I get to the second one. The description actually matches the profile. Okay, so now I'm getting excited. I'm like, okay, it's a good looking
maybe
girl.
something real
I'm
coming
there.
your way. Yeah.
Okay, but then the voice, Joe, I'll try to do it for you, but it was something like Barry Manilow, like very baritone, like, hey there, cutie, you're cute.
Oh man, you mean kind
my
of like
goodness,
the Seinfeld episode with the man hands, but she had the man voice.
Man voice.
Oh,
and
man, that's
it
rough.
was like, and I tried to give it a chance. I was like,
How you
oh,
doing,
man, like,
honey?
she was like, yeah, so what do you do for work? I was like, oh man.
You would
like,
have to keep
this
the
is
lights
too
on.
much.
If you had sex with her, you would have to keep the lights on. It would
Thankfully,
get
I
way
didn't,
too
I
creepy.
didn't get to that stage.
Yeah.
Again, cordially, kindly said goodnight. And
Gentleman that you are.
Gentleman that I am,
Yeah,
right? Or I
yeah.
try to be.
Yeah.
So then I'm back with my best friends, and I'm like, hey, man, you guys are telling me all this stuff. My experiences are significantly different. Like, I'm done with this thing, right? Like, I'm frustrated. I'm
Something's got to break.
right?
Something's
I'm
gotta
like,
give.
I want to give up. I want to delete the app. They're like, no, give it a chance. Give it a chance. Maybe
Just
third
one
time's
more
a
chance,
charm.
maybe you tried, or
Maybe.
Yeah.
So then I accept, an invitation from a very good-looking girl, and I'm already suspect, right? So I'm like very precautious.
Is this her high school picture?
Yeah, I don't know what, because the pictures are just, she is gorgeous,
Drop
right?
dead,
So I'm
drop
like,
dead,
oh
yeah.
man, I'm like, okay, yeah. So if this is real, then yes, this can move forward. So anyway,
I can see that.
again, I'm not looking for a pen pal. I want to kind of meet somebody in person. I'm looking for somebody, right?
A natural woman.
A natural
woman.
person, right? Not an AI.
Good looking
like
woman,
actual
that matches your
person.
own good looks, right?
As much as I can.
I mean, she'd have to be damn good looking to be with you. I mean, let's just face it. Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Joe. But anyway, so.
And I feel that way.
looks
Not
good.
that there's anything wrong with it.
Anyway, if looks could kill, she'd be slaying them.
That's
So
the
then-
girls I date. Their looks they usually do kill.
They
the
do
ones
kill?
they kill all right.
I don't know what they kill, but they
Yeah.
probably kill. Anyway, so I show up to the date. I had invited her to a restaurant. I show up to the date.
Not a
and
bar, another restaurant.
Another restaurant,
Okay,
very
yeah,
nice, upscale restaurant. Get there, and I'm 20 minutes late, mind you, Joe. Like it's not a good situation. I wasn't putting my best foot forward, but I texted before.
So you perform on your dates just like you do when you're supposed to show here.
Hey, sometimes
Hey, imagine waiting for this guy.
At least it's honest though. That's the real me.
Okay, so she looked past the 20 minutes.
She looked past the 20 minutes. She was still there when I got there. So I get there, and I'm almost like flabbergasted. I'm like, wait, is this? I almost wanted to check my phone to make sure.
You're checking all the other tables to make sure there's not one that's not as good looking.
Right.
I think that's yours.
Right.
Yeah.
So I see her, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, wait, are you here for me? And she's like, yeah, is your name? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, yeah. I was like, eyes wide open, like, oh my goodness. Sweetie, I'm going to go wash my hands real quick. We're about to do this. And
make sure there ain't nothing stuck on your teeth.
like, I just wanted to make sure,
let your
right?
fingers do the
'Cause
eyebrows.
I was
and all that
driving
stuff,
pretty fast to get there.
Yeah.
Even 20 minutes late, I was driving fast. But anyway, I mean, it's history ever since.
And how much longer? How long did you date before you guys tied the knot?
About 2 years, plus
2
or minus.
years, I
Yeah,
know.
about 2 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Weren't you afraid that maybe you might have lost her in those 2 years? She was that good looking,
She's a looker, but no, I mean, I'm pretty confident.
Yeah. Oh, cool, man. Well, and congratulations
I
on your
appreciate
wedding.
that,
Yeah,
Joe.
yeah.
I don't know if you ever wished me congratulations
Yeah,
before.
well, I'm
joking,
not the
I'm
marrying kind, but now that it's already over, I can't talk you out of it. But anyway,
That's it.
Well, I went to a wedding recently too, Lucky Leo, and my friend, he was one of my old drinking buddies, man.
Okay.
And we wanted to do it right for him. We wanted to rent an entire strip joint.
Yeah.
And I mean, we didn't want the crazy
entire strip joint.
The entire
Appreciate
strip
that.
joint. Just the wedding party only. We didn't want the crazies.
Right.
We didn't want the bar fights. We didn't want the stabbings, the shootings, and all
Yeah.
that crazy stuff. So we actually had to rent an entire bar out, and we found out it was very, very expensive. We couldn't afford it, even when we all pooled our money together.
The entire bar. Okay.
And by the time we got our act together, it was so close to the wedding that the only place that we could rent was a new strip joint. I don't know if you heard about it. It's called Scepter Heads.
Scepter Heads.
Yeah, Scepter Heads. I thought,
No.
Yeah, what the heck is Scepter Heads? You know. And anyway, what we come to find out is this guy had a really brilliant idea. You know.
All right.
He owned some strip joints. And he said he was so tired of the people that would come there, the women that would come there, and they just had beautiful bodies, but their faces were kind of homely, and they weren't good enough to be on the stage, you know?
Oh, man.
So he opened up this new club called Scepter Heads, which means everything's nice Scepter Heads.
Scepter Heads.
Yeah.
That's
Scepter Heads.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, you would be there,
so funny.
and they always wore a mask, you know? And so you couldn't see their face, but you could always, their bodies were like a 19, 18-year-old Bridget Bardot, like a 16-year-old J-Lo.
Oh, boy.
But their mugs, I mean, they look like the guy that was, the guy that's underneath fixing your plumbing with his ass crack hanging out. You look at that face, it was like, and so they would wear a mask, you know, and they wore a mask and they would dance.
Did they ever take the mask off?
Only on Halloween night. But,
come on now, Joe.
Oh my God! So I got to know the guy, you know, and he invited me in the back, and so we're going to his office because we're going to have some really expensive scotch he promised me, and so we were walking through, and we went through the dressing room where all the Scepter Head girls were there putting their, you know, and I don't think that they put powder on their cheeks because there was really no use. So they
I mean, it is Scepter Heads.
Well, they were powdering their butt cheeks instead.
Oh, appreciate that.
But I got to tell you, it was a long walk to the office to the dressing room. If you ever go to Scepter Heads, don't go toward the back. Just stay out in the
towards
front.
the back. All right. I mean, does that establishment still exist right now?
I think so.
Think so? Scepter Heads? I'm going to have to look it up.
Yeah, but just don't go on Halloween night.
Not Halloween night. Got it.
Not Halloween night. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, you know, listen, I got some really big news. I didn't want to tell you, but I'm going to tell you now.
Okay.
You know how we always get these sponsorships, these small little town, like the local dog groomer. He sponsors us.
And we appreciate it.
Yeah, which, you know, gives us enough money to, you know, make a pot of coffee for the show and all that. But we got a pharmaceutical
No, you
sponsor.
did not.
I'm telling you right now, man.
Big pharma, huh?
Well, I'm not so sure they're big. They're kind of new.
Well, pharmaceutical, though.
They're kind of new.
Wow,
So
okay.
anyway, and they got a breakthrough drug that they want to introduce to us. So we're going to take a break while our sponsor gets their message across. And when we come back, we're going to eat some wedding soup, and then we're going to have the secret best cocktail in the world that a groom can drink on his wedding night. So
I can't wait.
I'm telling you, it's going down, buddy. So anyway, that's it. So anyway, we'll be right back. Watch this commercial, and when we come back, me and Lucky Leo are going to do a little eating, a little drinking.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, but hang out, everybody. We'll be right back. And now, a special message from one of the sponsors of the Joe Nolfo Show, Cafe Meth and Cafe Crack. You know what kind of man it takes, and you know what kind of man you are. Yeah, that's right. You're the kind of man that likes to ride the crystal meth train, and you like to ride it non-stop whenever you can. But you still have some teeth remaining in your head because you're not at the point of no return yet. You're possibly even holding down a job while trying to project a sober presence in the eyes of the world. But every now and then, that treasured amphetamine can get the best of you, leaving you looking drained and haggard right before an unwanted responsibility comes a-knocking. That's the time when Cafe Meth comes to your rescue. Cafe Meth is a perfectly balanced mixture of crystal methamphetamine, caffeine, Valium, and Xanax to put you back on the fast track to success, both physically and emotionally.
And now, introducing from the makers of Cafe Meth, a product for an even older addiction problem, Cafe Crack, for when you positively, absolutely, and without exception have to rejoin the dreaded, repulsive world of reality. Cafe Meth and Cafe Crack, brought to you by the makers of Opioid Wake Up.
Go. So anyway, you know, I kept trying to bring myself to ask one of the Scepter head girls to go out, but, you know, I look at the body and I'd be all inspired, and then when I asked her, you know, because she thought I was just talking to me and her, she would lift the mask up, and all of a sudden I couldn't bring myself, shit, we're rolling again. Oh, anyway, we're back here. So as you know, today is the wedding. This is the episode that we dedicated to the weddings.
Yep.
And we've heard your story, and we've heard my story about Scepter heads, which, you know, I'm thinking.
I mean, that's a funnier story, I have to say.
We might have to go to Scepter heads, but not on Halloween night. So, as we always cook a food and we always have a drink, as you know, that the secret cocktail, the secret cocktail coming that all grooms should drink on their wedding night, and it's not a zombie. It's not a Harvey Wallbanger, and it's not the typical champagne like I told you before. But what I have done is I've made some normal wedding soup, this was a dish that was made in Italy.
All right.
And I made it traditional, and if you want to make it at home, all you do is get chicken soup. You can make your own chicken soup, or you can get
smells good, Joe. I'll tell you that.
It's great. And you get your favorite canned soup. Like I got my favorite canned soup in this, and I put it in. And then, of course, you know, you always want to put some chopped garlic in it. And if you want a little teriyaki, I do, but I'm not going to do it today.
Nice.
But, so we're going to sample this wedding soup right here, but I almost forgot. You have to put the meatballs in it. If you don't put the beef meatballs in it, then it's not wedding soup. The wedding soup is, what makes it wedding soup is you have to put the meatballs in it. Now, this has been simmering I've had it on simmer for about 2 or 3 hours now.
Nice.
So we'll pig out on it when we get done with the show, but want you to sample it here so you can tell our people that I'm the best chef in the world and all that kind of stuff, you know? So let it cool down here because it's really super hot. And we can talk about, it's got the...
That looks good. I mean, it definitely smells good. I can smell some garlic over there.
Oh, man, you know me when I cook garlic. It's unbelievable. Anyway, here we go. Wedding soup. Oh, man.
That's nice and hearty right there.
That's the difference when you melt. When I put it on melt, and I let it go for like 3 hours. Isn't that great?
Yeah. That's good stuff. Nice, Joe.
Wedding
soup.
We can't eat it all. We got to save a little bit for Jeremiah.
Yeah, so this has got like chicken and meatballs in it, huh?
Peas and onion.
Yeah.
And look at you see the little round pasta. That's at orzo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's little bow ties in there.
Yeah. So let me get this last bite of here, and then we'll get the rest of it.
No, that's good stuff. Jeremiah, you're gonna try some of this.
When we're done rolling. So anyway, let's talk about the cocktails.
Let's hear about this, man. I'm excited.
Wedding,
getting me hyped up.
When you get married, it's always champagne. You know, they stack the glasses up and they pour the champagne until it all melts into the glasses. Yes. Well, you know, like my father never lived it down. My mom was mad until the day that he died. She told me this story. They got married.
Okay.
And my dad was always a Jack Daniels drinker because back in those days, Frank Sinatra, Jack Daniels paid Frank Sinatra to push that, you know, with all the Northerners. So,
oh wow, okay.
So it was always my dad. He always loved Frank Sinatra. They idolized him when they were kids. So they drank Jack Daniels. So my dad got married and he was with all of his Italian friends. And my mother was from Indian heritage, and you know they had a party. And my dad got so drunk that the legend goes that they didn't consummate the marriage on the wedding night because my dad drank so much that he passed out.
Oh man!
Oh yeah! And I'm sharing it with everybody here.
Yeah, you are. I'm a little holding my head.
Well, you know he's passed on, and my mother has too now.
Well, rest in peace.
I can say, Dad, if you're listening, Dad, where are you, Dad? If you're listening to me, I'm sorry, Dad, but
come on.
Anyway, so. Anyway, I did some research and I found the best drink that grooms could drink, you know, and definitely Jack Daniels is definitely not one of them. Okay.
Probably not. Doesn't sound like it.
No. So you know what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and we got one more little clip that we need to play.
Okay.
And then we're gonna me and you are gonna have that cocktail.
All right.
And I'm gonna do a dedication and we're gonna close the show out. This is our first show back from like
yes,
a
sir.
5-month hiatus. We got all our other films.
Fins up.
All the other films, stuff we needed to do, we got done. So we're back on it. We're staying on it. We're going to have some great new exciting shows. This is just a warm-up for us. That's why we did the wedding show, because we'll save the more important stuff for later.
Wow.
Right? The wedding. So anyway, so we're going to cut right now.
Okay.
Right when we come back, we're going to do the cocktail and the rest of the show.
Sounds good.
Hang out. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, it's Joe Nolfo right here at the Drunken Cockatoo. I just deep fried me a prime rib steak on the food section of the Drunken Cockatoo. And let me tell you what, it's melting in my mouth. Watch our show. Come on and subscribe. We'll have a good time. Let's keep the parrot head way of life alive. Salute. And we're back here at the Drunken Cockatoo, the reopening show after our hiatus, which we did a lot of film work. It wasn't like we were laying around doing nothing. We were acting.
I'm glad to be back.
In fact, I did a small bit for this college thing, and they wanted me to play a villain, but they wanted me to stay in character, like a character actor, so I had to walk around like a killer. Everybody I know thought I was a serial killer. They would come to my house, knock on the door, and I'd scream at them and threaten their life, and I just couldn't come out of it, you know.
I mean, serial killer Joe, I could probably see it.
Yeah, well, you know, I had to stay in character. Man. Well, you know, me, Nicholson, De Niro. Well, I don't want De Niro anymore, but, you know, Nicholson and those actors, Nolfo, it goes right with it, you know.
Right.
But anyway, so this is our drink. We're going to reveal the secret drink that every groom should have on his wedding night, so they don't follow to the same fate that my poor dear old dad did.
Yes.
And that is coffee. Here is the drink.
It looked familiar.
For all grooms that they should have on their wedding night. And you know what, Leo? I believe that me and you just saved a lot of marriages. Boy, that's some good coffee too. That's coffee I get imported from New Orleans. That's the famous Cafe Du Monde. I import it. I always drink it. I come home from the gym every morning. When I'm swimming my last laps at the pool, I'm dreaming about this coffee.
Yeah.
But anyway,
stuff.
So at the last show, I want to bring up something here. I want to bring back up an old. I mentioned a friend of mine that left us about almost a year and a half ago now, and I want to bring back my dear friend Jimmy Buffett, who also sponsored me on. You know, I pushed a wheelchair from here to California for the Humane Society. He sponsored me. I sailed through the Caribbean on a boat for the manatees.
I mean, that's the king of the parrot heads, isn't it?
Yeah,
he's the parrot king.
Yeah, that's the parrot king, and he sponsored my comedy shows I did for the manatees, and we did a lot of work, you know, together with charities and stuff. And he died September 1st, 2023. Can you believe it's been that long already?
God,
I remember when. I remember one time I went there, and I was in New Orleans, and I had to go there for NASA when I was in the NASA program, and I always stopped by NASA. I drove the car rather than fly so that I could stop at New Orleans on the way there and way back and see friends. And Brett was the manager of the Margaritaville on Decatur Street, which is now defunct. It's shut down now. But they knew I was coming, and so I came in and I walked in the place, and they said, and Brett, the manager, he waved me over, and we went up into the office. And we opened the door, and Jimmy Buffett sitting behind the counter, which shocked me.
No way.
Really, and he had sponsored my when I pushed a wheelchair from here to California, the Parrot Head Run.
Correct.
And so he lifts up he was drinking tequila that night, right out of the bottle, and he lifted up and he said, "So tell me about the Parrot Head Run," he said. And man, I had the hair up on the back of my neck. I had met him, you know, a couple of times before, but always like backstage at concerts, just real brief, never such
one-on-one with Jimmy.
An intimate setting, you know. And so anyway, we drank, him and Brett, we drank some whiskey together and tequila or whatever everybody was drinking. And then like some other hanger-on people kind of came in the office.
Yeah.
And I could see that Jimmy was getting a little perturbed by the people. And then like the office door was open, and you know it was a tire swing lounge on the second floor.
Okay.
And so these people like walked in, and they were trying to get him to sign a menu, and they were interrupting our conversation. And you know I could see Jimmy was getting kind of pissed, and I could see that it was all, you know, piling up on him. So I remember I would be the cool cat that I am.
I know it, Joe.
Yeah, and I went and I said to Jimmy, I said, "Jim, I said, thanks for sponsoring me on the Parrot Head Run.
Right.
And I clinked glasses with him, and I did a shot of tequila with him.
Nice.
And I said, I got some people I got to go see, and I'll see you later. And I remember his eyes just followed me when I walked out that place. He couldn't believe that I was leaving because everybody always just sucked on him
Jimmy,
like tits,
right?
you know.
Yeah.
So I was like Mr. Cool, and I remember when I was walking out, I was like on my crutches walking out, and like my spine was like fused, man. I was like, I couldn't turn my head and stuff, and the hair was up on the back of my back. And
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
And I got out and I was like, whew, and then I thought to myself, what the hell? I was just drinking with Jimmy Buffett, and I'm out on Decatur Street out there with all the hobos, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, I walked over to Bourbon Street and soon forgot about it after that. But anyway, getting back to he passed on us on September 1st, 2023. And I talked to his sisters. He's had two sisters, Lori and Lucy. And Lori, he spoke his last words to. And you know what his last words he spoke were?
No.
He told, right before he took his last breath, he told his sister, he looked her in the eyes and he said, have fun. And he passed on.
Oh, I bet.
And when she told us that, she was crying and all that.
Wow.
And I just want to say that is why I started the Drunken Cockatoo.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the Drunken Cockatoo is back. That's why the Drunken Cockatoo is not going anywhere.
That's right.
And we're going to do it. We're going to do this Cockatoo. We're going to stay with it. We're going to keep the Parrot Head way of life alive.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Fins up.
Have fun, like Jimmy said. And with that, I want to say salute to Jimmy Buffett. Jimmy, thanks for everything. Thanks for teaching the whole world about island time. There'll never be another one like you. We'll see you next time on the Drunken Cockatoo.